Is it worth it? Are you thinking? Take a stand now.
WIT for life.
Well, like if you can take some entertainer away now.
WIT for life.
Your life is more important. Don't throw it away. Elevate your mind. Deep in the heaven stand. Begin to pray today.
WIT for life.
Is it worth it? Are you thinking? Take a stand now.
WIT for life.
Well, like if you can take some entertainer away now.
WIT for life.
Your life is more important. Don't throw it away. Elevate your mind. Deep in the heaven stand. Begin to pray today.
WIT for life, you gotta do what's right now. WIT for life, you gotta help another now. Talk it out, turn around, take your time, do what's right in your mind's old.
Damn, do you see the real enemy? Turn your finger around and see this enemy. Can I tell you the truth? The enemy, deceit and blinding me.
I'm trying to see my brothers take each other's life because of colors. They really don't make sense, it's senseless. Believe that every life is priceless. Tell me how do I change from using the fist to mine? Tell me how do I change the resentful angry mind?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WIT for Life, sharing strategies for anger control and resolving conflicts without an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. We're working things out because I am my brother's keeper, and so are you. You have joined us today, of course, on the program WIT for Life. But it's a sad day because a couple of days after we have heard about another prominent artist, well influencer in the area of rap entertainment, of course, from the Migos, Takeoff. He was fatally shot in Houston. His name is known as, his real name is Kirsnick Kari Ball, which is even a greater urgency for me to continue this broadcast. When I had decided to do this broadcast over, I would say about a month ago, I was thinking about it, and what really prompted me was the violence, the incline of violence, the shootings here in Lexington, Kentucky. Why is it so important for me to do this broadcast? Maybe there's something I can share to stop one individual, two or three, from turning to gang violence, turning to gun violence, turning to drug usage, turning to theft. Maybe, just maybe, there might be something I could do to help. We living in a time where people don't have very little value for life, and there's been a lot of senseless killings, shootings, and you begin to ask yourself, for what? This is somebody's brother, somebody's son, somebody's, in some cases, daughter. Most often we have more African-American men, boys under 18 that are being murdered or that are killing others. It comes at a time, again, where we ask the question, when is enough going to be enough? How can we turn things around? Well, we got to look at the root of it all. What's happening? I was listening to several well-known artists who've been in this in the field of, shall I say, rap entertainment, and they say, hey, we got to turn this around and stop putting the blame just on the shooters themselves, and when it comes to entertainment, stop putting the blame on the rappers themselves and begin to look at those that are producing them. The record company, the record labels. You find out as you begin listening, you find out more and more about what's been going on over the years and decades, and it's really when you look at it and look at the history of it all, you say, man, this is a shame. This is a tragedy and a travesty. What is it that we are or can do to turn things around? Is there something that we can do? And I'm sure we can do a little bit more. But anyway, when we talk about the record companies, we look at how they talk about how the record companies would take out insurance policies on the rappers, and in order to capitalize and get the money, they would have some of the artists to be killed. Now, you may say, oh, that's ridiculous, but think about it. Some record companies may be hurting. They about to go out of business, and they maybe feel like, hey, if we go ahead and do this, we can get capitalize off of insurance policy if our artists, are killed or by someone. So then you begin to look at that and say, man, they don't care about us. They don't care about them. And so you look at that and then anyway, that we have to educate our kids, our children. Yes, our children at this age, at the young age, before they become of age and get into the entertainment world, so they can understand what they're getting themselves into. So, how do we stop it? How do we get to the root of it? That's just one particular area. I was talking to an officer who is very familiar with what's going on and the violence and the history of it. And he was like, hey, if you want to stop it and the root of it, you just can't stop it in one area. You got to hit it over here. You got to hit it over there. You got to hit it over there. So there's many areas. And what does that mean? It's going to take everyone's help, everyone's participation, everyone to say, hey, enough is enough. Let's begin to not just chastise those that are creating the violence, but let's educate them. Let's give them the truth. Let's show them what's really going on so that their eyes are open. So that they do not, and I believe I coined this phrase, Cain and Abel complex, where Cain, was jealous of his brother Abel, and so he took his life. Listen, he had just as much as the other brother, and he could make God well pleased. But anyway, let's address that here in a little bit, and we'll go into a few more things concerning that complex. But before that, we want to thank you all for tuning in to, again, WLXU 93.9. Excuse me, you all. And after these messages, you'll hear more about my thoughts concerning the Cain and Abel complex, because it definitely needs to be revisited, okay? Yes, I am back, and let me give you a disclaimer real quick. And again, the strategies that we provide for you again are strategies, and so we really encourage you if you are having situations of trouble in terms of with the anger, please seek legal or professional advice, whether it's a therapist or counselor. Seek that the professional counseling that is needed or therapy to help you further with your challenges with anger and conflict. Again, we want to thank you all. You have joined us here on, again, Radio Lex at WLXU 93.9 FM. And so let's go back to what we were talking about. So we were talking about, again, the Cain and Abel, I call it syndrome or complex. You all know the story, and some of you may not know the story. And I can take you back to the story in Genesis 4:1. Start with it, and it says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and conceived and bare Cain, and said, I've gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time, it came to pass. Key word I want you all to key in on is process. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offering. Let's stop right there. Again, I want to thank you all for those who are just tuning in. Again, this is WIT4LIFE, Anger Control and Conflict Resolution. I'm yours truly, John W. Rhodes. And again, one of the things that we have been conveying over the past few weeks is about anger control. The root of anger control. How does anger control be controlled or capitalized on? How do we resolve conflicts? Look at this story of Cain and Abel. Look at verse 5. It says, but unto Cain and to his first offerings he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? See, Cain became a little discouraged because, again, he took of his offering of the ground, and it was not acceptable to God. But here's the thing. Look at Abel. Abel took of his firstlings. He took of the sacrifice, which was of flesh and blood. It was a more valuable sacrifice because it was of life. Now, I told y'all to capitalize and focus on the word process. Think about the word process. See, the word process is important because why? Because we all must take a process the proper process in order to get things done. We must go through training, procedure, or we must do things the right way. When we find ourselves not doing things the right way, then what are we doing? We're trying to skip the process. I was telling some people earlier, I said, listen, trust the process. Trust the process. How often do we know what's right, what needs to be done, but we want to skip the process? You can't do that. You want to skip the process and get something that somebody else has. You want to steal from others. You want to take somebody else's life. What's the process? Work it out. Can we talk it out? Can we agree to disagree without feeling like we need to take somebody's life? See, Cain was at that point, he became jealous. See, here's a solution for you. Listen, when you get to the point where you find yourself being jealous of someone, and you know when you're being jealous because you start looking at them, you start talking about them, you start wanting, you know, what somebody else has or what someone else is doing. And you begin to tell your bros, what's your homies, what's going on. And again, you begin to talk about these other people that you despise or are jealous of. When you get to that point, pray. When you get to the point, even when someone maybe is doing you wrong, you pray. And I know some of you say, pray. Nah, See, listen, the reason why we're in the shape that we're in is, again, because we try to live by the Old Testament, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Listen, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. You steal from me, I'm going to steal back from you. You mess with me, I'm going to make you pay. And it becomes a endless what? Cycle. Over and over and over again. And it's like it never stops. So look here again. And it says in verse 7 of Genesis 4, it says, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? Listen, if we do well, listen, we will be accepted. Our offering will be accepted. Our sacrifice will be accepted. Our effort will be accepted. The things that we do will be accepted. Listen, success does not come overnight. It's not easy. You got to put in the work. Listen, the Migos, they put in the work to get to where they are. Amen. And sometimes we see that. We see their success, and other people, let me put it that way, they see the success and they become jealous. Well, not just in the rap field, but think about even on your job. Look at in your community. Look at in your neighborhood. You see people that are successful. Let's look at athletes. Let's look at those who are successful in the classrooms and getting the A's and B's and doing well. It takes work. That's an area you can't fool anyone. Yeah, you may be able to cheat on a test, but eventually, guess what? It's going to catch up with you. So the important thing for you to do is just to simply get in there and do the work. If thou, he says, if thou doest well, verse 7, shalt thou not be accepted? If thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Listen, all of us were given the ability to become successful. The question is, are we doing the work? Are we expecting an A and we're not studying enough to even get a passing grade? Are we putting in the work? And you say, well, I can't understand like somebody else is understanding, and are you getting the tutoring, the special tutoring that you need? Are you putting in the extra hours? See, when we waste our talent, when we waste our time, when we waste our gifts, what are we saying to our lives, and what are we saying to our Creator? What are we saying to God? God, I don't trust how you made me. so I'm going to make myself. How are you going to make yourself? That's when you get in trouble. You say, I'm going to make myself, and you're going to do it your way instead of God's way. It says, order my steps in your word. Order my steps. It says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Listen, there's no shortcuts in life. You got to put, the emphasis I keep saying is, you got to put in the work. There is a process. Trust the process. Surround yourself with the right people. Who is it that will ultimately want to see you succeed? Who around you ultimately is doing the right thing, making the right steps? Or are they taking shortcuts? Are they conniving and thinking about how can we steal from this brother, this sister? Listen, it's all a trap of the enemy to get you to live a lie. It says sin lieth at the door. Yeah, it's a lie for you to take shortcuts. Anyway, let's stop right here real quick, you all. Again, and take a break. And we'll continue this in a moment after these messages. All right, guys, listen, thank you once again for tuning in again to a WIT for Life, where we're sharing strategies for anger control and conflict resolution without an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but working things out because I am my brother's keeper and so are you. Yes, we are our brother's keepers. Again, you're tuned in to Radio Lex here at WLXU 93.9 FM. And I'm yours truly, John W. Rhodes. Y'all can call me Coach Rhodes, and because that's what I've used most of the years when I dealt with as a youth advocate for the children and youth in the schools and community and mental health areas. All right, you all. So let's begin to look at that. Look at verse 7. We're going to dig just a little deeper, and then we're going to conclude this for this episode. Again, it says, unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Verse 7 again. Let's read the whole verse 7. It says, if thou doest well, thou shalt not. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So what do we do when we find ourselves in that place where we keep doing the wrong thing? Listen, repent. Ask for forgiveness. Ask God to, hey, cleanse my heart. Help me to do the right thing. See, these are simple principles, things that we can follow through. It's okay. It's okay to admit that, listen, I've been going down the wrong direction. I've been hanging out with the right crowd. I have the wrong mindset and of wanting to take from others and kill others and commit senseless acts. I've been wrong. But listen, it takes a man and it takes a woman to be able to admit, hey, I've been wrong, and then turn things around. But listen, here's what you got to remember. Always remember this example. You know, they always use the example, hey, if you have a bag of apples and you are a good apple, but the bag of apples are rotten, well, you take that good apple and place it in the bag of the rotten apples. Guess what will happen to the good apple? It will turn rotten as well. Listen, don't fool yourselves. Don't fool yourselves thinking, oh yeah, I'm strong enough. I can hang out with my homies and not get involved in the violence and the senseless acts that they're getting into. Here's the truth of the matter. Sometimes, because they're more clever than you are, you're hanging out with them. Guess who gets caught? You do. Because you haven't learned the tricks of the trade. Listen, this is about making decisions. This is about thinking about our life, not just now, but for the future. What are we going to do? Are we going to make the right decisions? Verse 8, it says, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the what? The field. Look, when they were in the field, when they were out and about in the community, just doing their thing. Listen, others saw, our brother take off, and what ended up happening again, violence arose, and someone took his life. I'm trying to make this relative. For what? For what? Why do I need to make it relative? And why do we take each other's life? For what? To prove that, oh, nobody messes with me. I'm going to stand up for it. Come on, guys. When will we value each other's life? When will we take the time to say, hey, you know what? Listen, I'm bigger than that. Let me step away from this situation. Listen, that other person or those people, they're making me a little upset. So I'm going to just turn away from this. I'm going to get out of here. See, now you have a life that's been taken. Take off. His life has been taken. And the other person who shot him, guess what? They're going to be locked up, taken to prison. When is enough becomes enough? When does enough become enough? So what do we do, y'all? Here's what we have to do again. Trust the process. Trust the process in which we have been given. All of us been given a process. We can do the right thing if we choose to. We can do the right thing, y'all, but it's up to us. We got to come to the point and say, okay, I'm going to make the right decision. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to ignore. I'm going to, look, I'm getting heated. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to try to talk it out if I can. Talk it out. Agree. When will we agree to disagree without feeling like we got to take a gun to somebody? Jesus. Okay. Verse 8, it says, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Do y'all realize what's going on? Our brothers, we rising up against our own brothers. Yeah, you may say, well, they're not my brother. Listen, they are your brothers. They're your brothers. Distant brothers. And when we don't learn how to cooperate, to communicate, to resolve conflicts, then what do? We end up taking each other's life. Yeah. Okay, guys. Listen, I'm going to just play this song, and we're going to conclude here. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in to WIT4LIFE, sharing strategies for anger control and resolving conflicts without an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but working things out because I am my brother's keeper, and so are you. Let's become each other's brothers, amen, and each other's keeper. Begin to watch out for each other, even when we feel like we don't want to. Again, thank you for tuning in to, again, WIT4LIFE. And for those who want more strategies, information concerning WIT4LIFE and other programs, you may go to johnwrhodes.com, johnwrhodes.com. That's RHODES, like Rhodes Scholar, johnwrhodes.com. Okay, guys, listen, we'll leave you with this song, again, WIT4LIFE. Listen to the words, you all. It's just not a song that we love to hear, but it has a message in it. WIT4LIFE. See you next time. See y'all next time.
Is it worth it? Are you thinking take a stand now? Well, I guess you can take some entertainment away now. Your life is more important. Don't throw it away. Elevate your mind. Deep in the heaven and stand. Begin to pray today. Is it worth it? Are you thinking take a stand now? Well, I guess you can take some entertainment away now. Your life is more important. Don't throw it away. Elevate your mind. Deep in the heaven and stand. Begin to pray today. WIT4LIFE, you gotta do what's right now. WIT4LIFE, you gotta help another now. Talk it out, turn around, take your time, do what's right in your mind. Oh,
Damn, do you see the real enemy? Turn your finger around and see this enemy. Can I tell you the truth? The enemy, deceit, the blind,
you see, I'm tired of seeing my brothers take each other's life because of colors. It really don't make sense to senseless. Believe that every life is priceless. Tell me how do I change?
Tell me, how do I change?
From using the fist to mind.
Using the fist of mind.
Tell me how do I change? Give me some angry mind. Is it jealousy, or envy, frustration, and with me? The absence of empathy. How can I change the feelings in me? I gotta get some help now.
Gotta get some
The
help.
rage is wearing me down now.
Wearing me down.
Somebody help me, please. Even me, I'm tired of me. WIT4LIFE. Is it worth it? Are you thinking take a stand now? WIT4LIFE. Well, I guess you can take some entertainment away now.